this workshop, Rebecca will share practical insights on how you can strategically use your personal style to make a lasting impression, communicate confidence, and ultimately land your dream job. With her keen eye for fashion and deep understanding of psychology, she'll guide you through using style as a powerful tool to present yourself in ways that align with your career goals. Let's give a warm welcome to Rebecca Rowe.
There is a form of study called enclothed cognition, which is about how you interpret yourself in clothing. It is about how you talk to yourself based on what you're wearing. And it is a really interesting study. If you have some time, go through it. But essentially, you can. Your brain cares. When you look at yourself in the mirror and you think it's as good as it's going to get, it's usually as good as it's going to get. And like we've heard from all of our other speakers, that's intimidating. It's intimidating to look in the closet and go, sure. No one wants to get out of bed and go, whatever. So this is why I'm asking you to take some time and go through your closet and see what you want to say with your clothes. And 62% of millennials say that they think people are judging the way that they look. Now, style will help boost your confidence without having to talk. We all make snap judgments and we judge a book by its cover. It's how we've been raised to be. You look at someone and you go, hey, okay, you look like me, you're 6. Who here has traveled somewhere where they don't speak the same language as you? Right? And it doesn't matter if you're across the restaurant and you hear someone with a Canadian accent, you guys are best friends. You have nothing in common other than the fact that you sound alike. But you're like, we're gonna be friends now. So maybe don't do that. So my question is, instead of going through the what's your colors, what's in style, what's trendy, I want to ask you, what do you want to say with your clothes? How do you want people to interpret what you are saying based on how you appear? So I'm going to ask you, where do you feel comfortable regarding modesty? Where do you feel comfortable regarding the actual textile? So many people have sensory things that they don't like when it comes to clothing. So think about that when it comes to your clothing and your wardrobe. Now, I'm also going to ask you to think about what's you've already owned. I promise you, your personal style is already in your closet. It might be hiding there about the things that you don't wear, but it's there. Women have been using clothing for eons as armor. I'm going to ask you to strip away your armor, and we're going to talk about clothes, and we're going to use them as a tool to get what you want. That being said, if you're uncomfortable with anything that I'm about to ask you to do, please stay, enjoy, absorb, do this at home. Okay? In the comfort of your own closet. Now, we all did our backstory. I'm not going to take a long time with mine, but we got a lot to go through. The classically trained fashion designer part means that I went to school to learn how to make clothes. That's all it means. It means that I didn't sew. Pretty long, actually, but. Now, that being said, last year, after 10 years of running my own fashion brand, my apartment flooded with water up to my knees. And if you've noticed, I'm not short, so it's a lot of water. There's about 3 feet of water in my entire apartment, and it completely drowned my spring-summer collection that I had just received. So as I'm watching the water go up and up and up, and I noticed, this is not gonna work. So I cried for about 3 months. And then they were like, well, you still need to pay rent. I was like, that's not fair. So I started styling. I took the skills that I learned in school and the skills that people were asking me to do, and I started connecting them to style. And what I realized is that a lot of the times in Canada, there's a really big emphasis on how. What colors are good, what shapes are good, but no one ever talks about the why. Now, I went to school in New York and I went to school in Paris, and my family is first generation Canadian, so I never really understood the why is this so hard? Everyone just does it. My grandmother is 97 years old and will not leave the house unless her hair is on. She is unmarried, and she will dye the colors in her hair. Now, a question I get a lot is, why do I just clothes? There is a form of study called enclothed cognition, which is about how you interpret yourself in clothing. It is about how you talk to yourself based on what you're wearing. When you think about hiding in your clothes, you have an outfit that you go to in your mind, something that you're like, oh, I don't want it to look at me right now, or I want to be noticed at work. If your intention is to be noticed at work, then what are you wearing? The best advice I can give to this is look at the higher ups. What are they wearing? You want to be on their level. This is where we get into a surefire action plan. And so you're saying this with a grain of salt, start decluttering, because we're going to go through your closet piece by piece. Every single thing you own is going to go on your bed, and one at a time, we're pulling it in, and we're saying, does it fit? Does it fit your body? The way that your body is right now. Can we honor your body by choosing clothing that fits? And I don't mean it's oversized. I don't mean that it fits you the way that you want it to fit. Does it fit your body the way that you're intending it to fit right now? Because that is, treat yourself with something new. So, now that we're in our mental health, we're getting rid of all the things that don't fit. What serves the functions that we just talked about? We always have clothes in our closet that are for right now, and we also have clothes in our closet that are for our higher self. This is the person who wears heels every Friday because she's going out with the girls, even though we don't have girls and we don't go out. Right? If you want an easier morning and taking up less space in your closet because you don't have to think about it, let's get rid of the things that you have to think about. Which is what gets me to my next one. I want you to organize your closet. Instead of having work clothes and casual clothes, you have tops, you have bottoms. If you are the type who wears dresses, and you have a dress section or a skirt section. Then you have what I call layering pieces. So you have your layers. This could also be a jacket, a blazer, and you have your accessories. And now that we have them set up so that all of your tops are together, now we can start building holes. When you get home, you're going to start making a mood board. A mood board is a collection of images that are going to work together so that you can visually see the holes in your closet. What does your life look like Monday to Friday, in the evenings and weekends? Are you the type who has to commute and, like Captain was saying, you're on the train for 2 hours? Your shoes are going to look different if you're commuting in Toronto for 2 hours a day, 4 hours a day. And then you're going to choose a set of prints, colors, and vibes that you associate with your personal style. Now you're going to take all of those clothes that are on your bed that you pulled out, and you're going to try everything out in your closet. It's going to take you about 4 hours. Okay? Because at 4 hours, you're going to start going, yeah, no, just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. And everything goes. At the 4-hour mark, your brain goes, no, come down. So cap yourself at 4 hours. But you're going to try on all of your clothes. And you're going to try on new outfits. You're going to try on the outfits that you took images from. Even if you think that they might not look good on you, you're going to try them on anyway. Because what if they do? You're in your closet. There's someone else in your house. Why not? And then you're going to take photos of the ones that you like. So when you find that outfit combination, you're going to take a photo. You're going to put it into an album on your phone so that you have a library of outfits that you tried on that you know look good on you. But one of the best forms of color theory that I can think of is if it looks good on nature, it'll look good on you. So if you go into your wardrobe and you have a color combination that your grandmother said doesn't look good ever. I had my grandmother used to say you can't wear green and blue together, and I said why? And she said, oh, I don't know, you just can't. I personally like adding a balance point at my waist and creating a very hourglass shower. You don't have to do it that way. You can add balance wherever you want. Like what she's doing, where she's taking the vibrator pants and balancing out the looseness and the bagginess from the shirt. How do you want people to react to you? I was at a bar downtown in the market for way too many years. I definitely because of it. And I have no experience with any sort of sexual assault. Not from the guests, not from my managers, and every other girl who worked there does. And it is a terrible story. It is one of those things where I chose, while going there, to change the way that I looked to attract the least amount of energy going my way. And that was the end of that. I never attracted the male gaze. I only dressed for the female gaze. And one of my weirdest memories of working there was I had a woman, she came up to me after the bill and she goes, "Thank you for wearing clothes." And I was like, "No problem." all day, every day. And I didn't realize what she meant until I looked around and I saw that most of my colleagues were in a crop top or bra that they called a shirt or whatever else was trendy at the time. And I thought, you know what, fair enough. You came here on a date and I'm in a t-shirt and a baggy pair of jeans. Like, they're dressed cute, but a baggy pair of jeans is for a female gaze. It's not for a male gaze. I don't care what I look like in a baggy pair of jeans. I was able to manipulate my experience the entire time because I knew what to wear. To the point, because of course I was running a fashion brand, I decided to come and pick up my paycheck after a fashion event. I wore heels and I was in a corset, like tight lace corset, and I walked up to the balance and I said, "Great, hey." He's like, "Sorry, man, you have to wait in line." And I looked at him and I was like, "I will fire you tomorrow." I'm running downstairs and he goes, "Bex?" I'm like, "Yes." He goes, "You look like a girl." Thanks, sir. Appreciate that. And that was it. All I had to do is shoot fan back. That was the only thing. So what do you want people to say? What do you want people to, how do you want them to interact with you? Yeah. Now, you can take a second to do it now. You can do it when you get home. Because this is going to take some thinking time. If you were to describe the energy, because we don't have to love it, we simply use the word energy today. But if you were to describe your energy, how do you want people to react to you? What does most authentic? And I ask people to use words like edgy, romantic, masculine. What comes to mind? Professional, casual. There's a million different energy type of words that you can use to apply to clothing. And I'm sure that your brain went, "Oh, romantic? I'm thinking of a full skirt, maybe in like a pink Rowe, right? Something with frills." And if I said edgy, did you guys think of a leather jacket? Right? What does this mean to you, and how can we put clothing images to those words? Now, when I say who's your ideal client, if you are a business, I'm asking you to think about your ideal client. If you are looking for a job, I'm asking you to think about the dream job that you want. Because now they're your client. They're going to hire you. And you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. So, a lot of the times what you can do when you're looking for a job at a certain business is you can creep their Instagram, creep their LinkedIn, look at their website. What are they wearing? If you guys start to want to work at Shopify, what are they wearing? Jeans and a hoodie, right? A green hoodie. And if you want to work at Nordstrom, they're not wearing jeans and a green hoodie. So use the research tools that you have available to you and see what they're wearing. And how can you apply your personal authentic style to what they're looking for? Now, again, if you are interested in becoming a personal brand and building up your personal brand, this is where I would say, do your brand colors integrate into your personal style? Is there a way to get a teal or a red somewhere in what you wear every day? I want you to organize your closet. Instead of having work clothes and casual clothes, you have tops, you have bottoms, you are the type who wears dresses and you have the dress section or a skirt section, then you have what I call layering pieces. Layering pieces are the unnecessary pieces. They're the vests. They're the scarves. They're the extra piece that makes you feel put together. So you have your layers. This could also be a jacket, a blazer, and you have your accessories. And now that we have them set up so that all of your tops are together, now we can start building your personal style. What fits the functions of your business? Either your business or the business that you're working with. What fits your business colors? Those are going to be what you wear when you're doing anything regarding branding. So when you're up here talking to someone next year or when you're doing a photo shoot. And what do your customers want to see? Again, and two, if these are for paid work, you're going to just apply them to your work. Look around the room. This room is filled with women and then not two of us on the side. So why are there rules that are supposed to apply to everyone? I don't have the same job as you. Half the time I'm sitting by the fire shooting bent over. And then for the people who work in corporate, you see clients every day. You don't have to wear what someone else has to wear who works from home every day. It doesn't fit the functionality. Now, there are so many options for employment that instead of following these arbitrary set of rules, look to the company you want to work with and follow their rules. If their rules say, I want you to dress more professionally, take that. Understand that. Apply it to the authentic you that we have and go from there. These rules were created by marketers because fashion is a business. If you do not buy clothes, us in the fashion industry don't make money. If you do not feel poorly about your body because what's trending, we don't make money. The entire fashion industry is designed to ask and take your money. It can be art. It can be a form of self-expression because you are now using the tools. You're using clothing as a form of self-expression for you. But the person who's selling that piece of clothing doesn't make money unless you buy it. When you go shopping, you're going to go into the shop and you're going to put on this new piece that you're trying. And the first thing you're going to think is, how does this item of clothing physically feel on my body? Do I feel constrained? Do I feel irritated? Is this fabric itchy? If it passes the test of, okay, I like this, then you're going to, without holding your phone, go look at yourself in the mirror and you're going to pay attention to your expression. If your expression is smiling, if you are doing one of these, you left the piece. And if you're trying to talk yourself into it because it's on sale, because it's a good brand name, because you don't know it and you won't wear it. And we've all done that. Do you like this on me? That's what you'll say to the salesperson. Do you like this on me? I went off because we've all done it. Like, it's good, right? You don't need their validation because they are one, going to advise you to make that sale. But then two, you already know. But you're not trusting yourself enough to listen to the fact that you already know. So let's talk about fashion theories, right? We talked about color already, because everyone has, the seasons that they already know. But here are the other fashion theories. And the other fashion theories are texture, print, balance, and shape. And it's the combination of these 5 theories that combine to make a fire outfit. So don't be afraid of color. Try doing color combinations from your existing wardrobe, because you already know you like those colors, right? So if they're in your wardrobe already, you already know you like them. Try putting them together in different ways. So on camera, because yeah, I mentioned social media. If you guys think you're going to be on LinkedIn, you're going to post a new headshot. If you are trying to get noticed, color is the easiest way to get noticed. And use a vibrant color. Now, a vibrant color won't look good on everybody, but that's not the function of that piece. if the functionality of that piece is to get attention, then you're using it the way that it is intended to be used. Now, this can be something, it could be red, it could be blue, it could be purple, it doesn't matter what color it is. And choose one that you're already naturally more comfortable with. But the brighter the piece, the easier it is for people to notice on that little tiny headshot you have on the top of your LinkedIn. Try to avoid all black or all white outfits if you guys are taking photos, because those colors will flag you. I have more people laughing at me, so they're thinking about their Instagram. Now, when it comes to mixing colors, the best way that I can talk to you about mixing colors is by matching the tones. And that's the simplest way to do it. If it's bright, it will look good with bright. If it's muted, it will look good with muted. So match the tone within the color. And then we have texture. Texture is anything on your clothes that you feel. And now we have every clothing piece has a texture, and some of them are just more vibrant than others. So, oh, I forgot your name, but you came up with feathers, and your dress made it beautiful. So the feathers are a texture, and so is the satin. Some more vibrant textures would be faux fur, any sort of sequins or shiny things, sparkles, lace, sheer, cable knits, so something like what my dress is. All of those are more interesting textures, and we can use them as a focal point in our outfits. Leather is a texture, it's great. You also have more quote-unquote classic textures. Now, classic textures we've seen for eons, and this could be things like denim, it could be suiting, it can be your t-shirt, as it's called a jersey, usually the jersey knit. All of those are classic textures. The more classic textures you have, the more you mix them together. Now, texture doesn't really show up well on camera. So if you are looking to get noticed on camera, choose a more vibrant texture. So, like I said, lace, sequins, faux fur, leather, something like that that will capture the attention of the viewer. Texture is often used to add depth to your outfit. So when you're adding depth, you're adding interest, I would suggest starting with one main texture and then you have your supporting textures. There are neutral prints. And neutral prints are prints that we've seen for decades. And these include pinstripes, polka dots, florals, camo, believe it or not, because we've seen it forever. Animal prints, specifically leopard print, and different types of cloth. Whereas you also have what's called abstract prints. Abstract prints are prints that are newer, you haven't seen them so much, and they are bright, vibrant. They look like paints. There's a million different types of prints, but again, how loud do you want to go with your outfit? How loud are you willing to go with your prints? Neutral prints, I love neutral prints because they're so easy to mix together, and you have all seen plaid and polka dots. You've all seen florals and pinstripes, and you've seen them being put together in a really cool way. The way that we're going to mix prints is I want everyone to think about your print in a movie set. Okay? So you're on your movie set, and you have one dominant print. This is the loud print. This is the one that holds focus. She is the star of your show. And she does not like sharing the spotlight. So you have one dominant print, and this is the print where your eyes naturally want to go, and then you have one sub print or the sidekick print, and this is the one that's more neutral. Maybe it's a little bit harder to see. And they go well together because they're both in the same sense. They're both in the same movie. So this could be they both have a navy background. Or they're both in the same classic shape. When you're mixing prints and you're mixing these textures together, I would suggest going more classic with another element of your outfit. Something like we're talking about where you can add volume in your outfit. Because we're also going to be considering the shape underneath your outfit. Your physical body will provide shape to the look. So when you're adding shape or playing with shape, what we're doing is adding volume to one area or another. Now, there's many different ways that you can play with shape. There's playing the shape on the bottom, where you're wearing a large skirt or something that's taking up a lot of space. You can do shape on top or volume on top, where you have shoulder pads, big sleeves, something that's taking up a lot of volume up here. And then you can have no shape, where you're wearing something that is very fitted on both the top and the bottom. With that, decide again, where do you naturally have shape? I have broad shoulders and almost no boobs, so I can, if I add shape to my shoulders, I will look quite masculine. Because one of the most masculine traits is the large broad shoulders. So when I wear masculine cut pieces, like a blazer, I mix it with something that's more classically feminine, like a fuller skirt. And to do that, I have created an hourglass shape because I've exaggerated my shoulders and also created an exaggerated shape at the bottom. I hope that was clear enough. I have those face for questions at the end. But while doing that, I've added balance to my look, where I've visually added the break. So for me, I personally like adding a balance point at my waist and creating a very hourglass shape. You don't have to do it that way. You can add balance wherever you want. Like what she's doing, where she's taking the wide leg pants and balancing out the looseness and the bagginess of the shirt. So remember that you can also balance out your physical body by using the same character. And that's all I have to say. I know we're about to jump in questions, but thank you all for your time. And